Good morning and welcome everybody to this fourth annual conference of SDC EMEA and our first virtual event through circumstances I'm sure you'll all understand, possibly be operating under as well. The world's a slightly different place than it was in previous years, hence this virtual conference. But I would like to welcome you today. I'm sure we're going to have as much fun and as much information and quality presentations as we have in previous years. I'm joined today by Michael Oros, who is the Executive Director of SNIA. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Alex. Morning, everyone. Welcome to the virtual event.
So, our first virtual conference has 38 pre-recorded sessions provided on demand, and I'll explain what that means in a second. We've got a new virtual event platform for you to try out. We've got 30 companies that are presenting on leading edge storage technology developments. And we've also got two labs running. One is a persistent memory hackathon, and the other is an SMB interoperability lab, but I'll cover those in a second. So there's a lot here today that we're going to be doing. This is as good as a physical conference, with perhaps the slight downside of not being there in person, but the definite upside of not having to travel and to fight through traffic in Tel Aviv, which I remember as being truly horrific. So that's a real big plus. But lots of going on today.
Well, it'll be interesting if we get any parking complaints today, Alex.
Yes, we did have a few last time, I must admit. So I'd like to big shout out, a big thank you to all our sponsors. Without our sponsors, these events really don't take place. And I'm going to name them individually. The premier partners right at the top are Intel and Calray, and I'd like to thank them both for their generosity in supporting SDC EMEA this year. It's very much appreciated. We also have the SMB Interoperability Lab. It's being underwritten yet again. They've done it every year for a number of years now by Microsoft. I'd like to thank them for the support they've shown to SDC EMEA in running this Interoperability Lab at the same time and supporting us in running the conference. And then I'd like to talk a little about our branding partners. These are Micron, Samsung, and Cernet, and many thanks to them for supporting us financially and running the conference. We also have two alliance partners, the DMTF. I suggest that you go out and look at their website, dmtf.org, where you can get more information on what they do for a living, and the Soda Foundation, a relatively new organization that is an alliance partner with us this year, and we welcome them to the conference for the first time. So, what do we expect today? I'd like you to get as much value of this as possible. So review the agenda, take a look at what you'd like to attend, the sessions you think that would be of use to you. There's a couple of things that are really important about the sessions. The sessions are going to be made available on demand at the advertised time, and you can, if you miss a session, watch it on demand later. That's not a problem. But one of the big benefits of watching it on time is all the speakers at this event will be available to take questions and provide you with answers during their sessions. So while the presentation is running, you'll have that capability to be able to interact with the speaker in a way actually that you can't do in a real physical conference, because obviously they're up on stage presenting and you're down listening and you have to wait till the end. Well, you don't have to with this platform. You can actually ask your questions during the presentation, because the presentations are all pre-recorded, being made at the advertised time, and then the speakers being available during their sessions, I think is a real big plus. If you've got any issues with the platform, and obviously there may be some, but there's online technical support available, and they will be able to help you through any platform issues that you might have. Although I've actually been through the platform myself, and even this idiot here could cope with it. It's not that complex or that difficult. So review the agenda, decide what sessions you want to go and see, and during the session, once we've made them available at the advertised time, you'll be able to talk directly with the presenter to be able to ask them questions. So the other thing that's quite interesting with this platform, there are a bunch of features that this platform has that allows you to visit a sponsor expo area where you can actually see the sponsors and talk directly to the sponsors. And you'll be able to do so in relative privacy. You'll be able to go and contact the sponsor and talk with them, and that conversation will be between you and them. You can reach out to colleagues, make new friends, meet people, and do so in hallway areas. Those are public areas where everyone can join for a chat. We've also got the ability to have meeting rooms if you want a meeting to discuss some issues or discuss some new topics, whatever it might be, with other delegates. You can book a meeting room and chat room, and you can have those for side conversations. So not only do we have the traditional hallway conversations, we've also got the ability for you to have a bit more of a private conversation with those that you specifically want to address. And under the special events tab, you're going to be finding that we're also running the persistent memory hackathon, which I suggest you take a look at. And also you can drop in on the SMB3 interoperability lab, the one that Microsoft are so kindly sponsoring. So to maximize your attendance, remember that thing, the speakers available during the presentation at the advertised time. You can then go off and talk with other people in the hallway. You can book private rooms should you wish, so you can have more private conversations. And you can also go into the expo area and talk directly with the supporters of this conference. Last thing we'd ask you to do, we always ask you to do this when in every SNIA event that we run, whether it be a webcast or a conference, is feedback. Everything you say to us, we'll take back to the speakers and the organizers. And your opinions are really important to us. I mean, the reason we do this is because there's a demand for it, but we want to make sure that we're providing you with the best content and quality that we possibly can. So I strongly recommend, please, 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 do review every session that you attend. And there's an overall conference rating as well that you can give us, which would be very valuable for us, as this, as I say, was our first virtual conference, although it's our fourth annual conference. So that's what you can do. And what I would like now to do is let Michael introduce SNIA and cover some of the benefits of working with SNIA. Michael, over to you.
Thank you, Alex. I think and hope everyone attending today is familiar with SNIA, but we are always happy and welcome new participants. For those of you that are new, SNIA has been around for over 20 years. We're actually coming up soon on our 25th anniversary. And we are a global organization. We are made up of industry leaders, over 180 member companies from around the world, the who's who of names in storage. Of those, there are about 2,500 plus individuals from those companies in the industry that are actively participating in some project or work in SNIA. That's an impressive number of people. And these are the people that in the storage industry and community that literally make the storage world spin. They're the people who write the specs. They are the experts, much like this conference is contributed to and organized by them, a by developer for developer approach to our work. In terms of our reach beyond that, it's important that we not only reach our own community, but we reach the end users of the technologies. We have a footprint of over 50,000 IT and end users that we communicate with and update them on the latest storage technologies, the work that SNIA is doing, and how it's going to impact them down the line. Next slide, Alex. Quick recap for those of you that, again, are not as familiar with SNIA. We've stayed true to our vision and mission. We periodically update, but we've stayed true and on task in terms of being your trusted authority for storage leadership and developing standards, technology expertise. We welcome and encourage when people run into roadblocks, immediate or the ones they see down the road in the storage industry, to come to us discuss it as a community, and together come up with solutions that benefit the entire industry, and we can move forward with solutions that benefit ultimately our end customers. Really, our mission there is, in a vendor neutral way, to educate both the storage industry itself as to the new technologies that are coming and how it affects their development. Getting involved early and contributing to those spec developments ensures the time to market benefit for your products and services. But beyond that, doing the education on new technologies, and again, in a vendor neutral fashion, how they are different, how they compare, where they stack compared to the other options, previous ones, additional ones in the industry, and what an end user should be thinking about and preparing for moving forward. Next slide. In terms of what we do, I touched briefly on the standards development and adoption. That is at the core of what SNIA does. Our specifications that we develop are regularly submitted for standardization with ISO at a global level. And in addition to the standards for hardware, we do also have an open source track to accelerate adoption of open source software and standards that we develop in that domain. Part of having a standard is the objective is to ensure interoperability. To help facilitate that, we also have programs where appropriate for our standards to do interoperability assurance through PlugFest and conformance testing and related programs. In terms of that technology adoption and to accelerate the development and the adoption of that technology, we do the promotion of it. We have special interest groups, forum and initiatives that get the vendors collaborating with one another to present new information and its relevance to the industry. In terms of at the core, one of the fundamental pillars for SNIA is education for storage. And that covers anyone from college or pre-college students that are looking to make a decision about their career path, to learn more about the storage industry, and to get prepared for the eventual job that you as vendors are looking to hire people. Our education, our content helps prepare them to be more effective employees and more effective contributors to the community. So the more you contribute to the education, the greater the pool of qualified resources that will be available to you down the line to help move your objectives and your company's work forward. Next slide. This is a very high-level picture that covers the areas that SNIA works in. A lot of standard bodies that you may be familiar with in general are single technology focused ones. And those are great for one technology. SNIA, from its beginning, covered a very broad aspect of technology, all the way from the physical storage components that look at the form factors, connectors, transceivers, and other aspect of the physical component of storage, all the way down to considering the aspects of the power efficiency. How do you measure it? How do you measure performance? How do you manage it? How do you deal with and give consideration to the data governance and security? That's something we keep in mind for all of our specs from their ground up when we start on them. Of course, technology standards continue to evolve, and you have new technologies that entered the marketplace in the last 10 years that have their roots and grounding in SNIA. Persistent memory is such an example. Computational storage in more recent times, and several new projects technically there that are branch off or related to computational storage and related considerations. Network storage, of course, it's in our name. This is something that we think about, but it's one of the many components that you see here, including cloud storage technologies, where we have several projects that are relevant to that domain. So SNIA thinks both down to the component level, but also holistically from a system level architecture and overall industry and ecosystem considerations. It's the best place to think of not just the one problem, but also the supply chain that feeds into it and that it feeds up into. Next slide. In terms of the reasons to join us, please do. If you're not already a member, you're truly missing out. The ability to influence in SNIA is amazing, not just for the large vendors that have clear strategies and new standards and new technologies, but it applies all the way down to our startup member companies. Your voice can be amplified through SNIA by getting a community around an issue or problem and having SNIA as a whole with its entire membership be the voice that echoes it and puts it out into the industry. Also, your ideas could start from your own company, develop into a group project that will end up all the way into an international standard that are referenced by regulatory and government bodies around the world. Collaboration is, of course, it's at the core of what we do. It's funny sometimes to be sitting across the table from your competitor in the marketplace and collaborate with them. But truly, we've proven this over 20 plus years of history in SNIA. This does benefit everyone to collaborate and ensure that we have interoperable solutions that serve our ultimate customers. It's an everyone benefit to do this. And the leadership aspect of being able to present webcasts or present at events such as SDC here that are viewed by thousands of people around the world, it gives your company and your ideas visibility, again, in a vendor neutral fashion, so we have that trust of what we present from SNIA to the industry. But your visibility and your leadership is not only recognized, but greatly appreciated in the work that we do. Next slide. So please join us. I'm glad you've joined us today for the event. Take a moment to give us some feedback on this opening session, but also, as Alex mentioned earlier, please give feedback on all the sessions, overall on the event itself, the logistics and the tools that we put together to enable you to collaborate in this virtual world right now. We definitely look forward to seeing you again in person at a physical event, hopefully in the next year. In the meantime, enjoy today's conference. Hope you have a great time. And please remember, during the live presentations, you have a great opportunity to ask questions of the presenters. These are the experts in the industry that write these specs and lead the work in this space. It's your opportunity to ask them questions, point out new considerations to them, and interact with them. Thanks again for joining us today. Hope you have a great conference and look forward to seeing you again soon in person. All the best. Have a great day.
Thanks, Michael. And I look forward to bumping into people in the hallway during today and meeting old friends and making some new ones. That'll be really cool as well. A virtual meetup. Thanks very much indeed, everyone.
Thank you.